Welcome, my friends, and today on Denver After Dark, we have a special episode. And hey, guys, thanks for the live the other night. It was fantastic. Your favorite congressman and former J6 technical advisor and data expert and former CEO and current CEO and maker of whiskey here with you to talk about our administration. And I have some news. I was going to try to have a fun show like with good news. This ain't it, but it's still going to be funny. And this isn't going to be the longest show because I don't want you to waste your evenings. I want you to have fun and to be educated in a quick and fact based and data based way. So, today we're going to talk about some people in the administration, what I call aliens, sycophants, and weirdos. Now, I think I might have got that backwards, but I don't care. You're going to have to deal with it. So, the first thing I want to talk about is Congressman Eric Burlison. And I have to tell you, as we see the world crashing down around us as far as the economy going in the doldrums, the disinformation that's being pumped out on these disinformation channels like X or sometimes even Blue Sky, I have to tell you guys, there's some crazy on there. But even, Instagram or TikTok, we do have one congressman who sticks to his guns no matter what, and that's about UFO disclosure. Now, I have to tell you, Eric's out there while we have so many other things going on, right? Tariff wars, Israel, Gaza, Ukraine, Russia, looking at shooters, right? Active shooters. We have somebody talking about the truth is still coming, right? Disclosure's coming. A person who still thinks that this UFO thing somehow is going to bear fruit. And I just find it incredible that when I talk about unserious, and everybody here that's listened to me knows that I do have a specific burr in my saddle when it comes to those who are so fantastically inclined that they can't look at real policy or they're making decisions based on delusions that it's almost like this guy has a subscription just to watch Skinwalker Ranch, which is one of the dumbest shows ever made on television. I mean, one of the dumbest, mind-bogglingly insane, lying, grifting, pseudoscientific shite monkey of a show ever made, except maybe for Expedition Bigfoot, right? Or Ancient Aliens, those kind of shows. Burlison is still down this disclosure rabbit hole. And I'm starting this off a little bit softly without going into the crazy stuff, because just having somebody who believes this should be enough to have this person never elected. I mean, this is on the, Anna Paulina Luna, Tim Burchett line, right? Where some believe that aliens are in the Bible. I don't know if you know that, right? I mean, to the point where some people, I think it's the Nephilim, people think Bigfoot's from the Nephilim, or also the Bigfoot aliens are descended from biblical giants. Then you have the interdimensional, things that are going on. But I think what we have right now is we have somebody who still believes there's an alien meat market in freezers outside Area 51, and that people like, Jeremy Corbell or Lou Elizondo or David Grush or Stephen Greer, all these crazies aren't just grifting and trying to make money off the nuttiest things, especially things like Skinwalker Ranch or these UFO disclosure shows. It's all bullshit. It's crap. It's just ridiculous, right? It's just ludicrous. So anybody out there, should be looking at this going, how's this guy even elected? Well, that's the issue. We have voters that are nuts and they're ignorant and they're credulous, a lot of them, and they vote for people who think that UFO disclosure is at the top of the line, even though we have a $37 trillion deficit, real policy issues, foreign policy issues, crime, financial issues, things like that. So there's our aliens. And you're like, well, Dan, how about sycophants? Well, let's talk about Shawn Duffy, who goes after Pete Buttigieg for windmill damage. Check this out. So Shawn Duffy, as you know, we've had the craziness, right, of Donald Trump going off on windmills. Windmills kill whales. As you guys know, direct correlation between windmill use and whale deaths. Oh, I know that sounded like a Wookiee. It didn't sound like a whale. So Secretary Shawn Duffy, right? Transportation, obviously. Pete Buttigieg overruled safety recommendations about putting up wind turbines near railroads, highways, and aviation sites, all in the name of the green agenda scam. This put lives at risk and is unacceptable. I'm calling on Congress to uncover how far this cover up went. Safety is always a number one priority for me. No bullshit. You've had more freaking plane accidents out there. And the other thing too is obviously it's not a priority based on how you've been acting and, how Doge works within the transportation sector. But this is from the New York Post, right, which is really the National Enquirer or the weekly world news of media. Buttigieg, DOT ignored safety issues to build dozens of windmill projects near highways and railroads. It's made up. Everything in this administration is made up. So here's what I want to tell you guys. We talked about the alien stuff. That's just nuttery, crazy, bizarre, and you don't want people like that making decisions in the government. When you have Duffy, you have a naked sycophant, right? Somebody who has no other redeemable qualities and no other talents except that he was on TV shows, right? What was it, Big Brother or something, or Survivor? Who knows? Some bullshit reality show, which isn't reality anyway, and people shouldn't watch those because they rot your brain and make you believe in aliens, right? Or that Epstein wasn't related to Trump in any way. So when you're talking about people like Duffy, and I knew him, I served with him, we were on the financial services committee together. This is somebody who has to follow the lead of their dear leader because he really has no other where to go, no other place to go except maybe Fox News. I mean, literally somebody who has no other talents. But to go after Pete Buttigieg, which is ludicrous, this is made up. This is the thing. The Republicans have been using these conspiratorial, type of thinking, these fantasies, saying that there's a deep state, right? It's slanted. The data is not right. Job data has been manipulated by the deep state, or any data that's coming out of the government is bereft, right, of any integrity because it's actually slanted to push down conservatives or people who aren't Democrats or people who aren't sane. So what you have right now, though, is even with job numbers, even with this made up, it's just like the HHS stuff with RFK Jr., it's just like the Tulsi Gabbard stuff with Clinton and with Obama. It's just like Donald Trump and everything he says about Epstein. Everything's made up, y'all. This isn't real. It's just made up because he has to fall in line with the windmill nuttery of his boss, Donald Trump. So we have somebody who is willing to lie, willing to just make up things to make his boss happy, and somebody who believes in aliens. Now I'm simplifying it a little bit because Shawn Duffy could also believe in aliens, which I wouldn't be surprised because they believe they have direct links to the supernatural and God talks right to their frontal lobe. We're having policy made by delusions and prophecy. Woohoo! That's great. That should scare the shit out of everybody. So we've gone through those two. Let's talk about my favorite subject, and that's Kristi Noem galloping on her Argentinian horse on her trip abroad with her good friend Corey Lewandowski, talking about how there's nothing like riding an Argentinian horse. And you have somebody filming it from the side like it's an MTV video or a scene from Yellowstone. This narcissistic, crazy, awful type of thing. And by the way, I did put a post on X about it because I couldn't take it. And I don't know if I can do it any better, right, than how I wrote it. I said, have we become immune to cosplaying performative, mentally unstable, shit-slinging, narcissistic, pathological wannabes? That's how I started it. And here's how I ended it, if you'd like to look at it on X. A country on economic skids and law enforcement riding around with masks, and she's on a let them eat cake phase of her second adolescence. There she is riding her horse with her hat on and her hair extensions flapping in the wind. I mean, she actually met, I think, one of the ambassadors in Chile or something, wherever she was, with camo leggings. And to a point, when you look at aliens, sycophants, and weirdos, you look at Burlison, Duffy, and Gnome, you have an exemplar of the fact that this country is being led by the worst of us, the least talented, the most narcissistic, the people who can't determine fact from fiction, but they're so dumb they don't know they're dumb. But that ignorance has been such a blessing for them because of the person they work for. I am not a fan of crazy. There's things happening today, people like Denver, the one thing I try not to both sides at all because people are like, well, there's crazy people in the Democratic Party. There is. Crazy has never been party specific. But I want to tell you, if you have a party so in a hold my beer, fascistic, weirdo, sycophantic, narcissistic, bootlicking phase, you can't ignore it. But then, there's a party. It's like we have this crazy party and this party that's like, I just don't want to touch the fire. And they're just getting crushed because they don't have any guts. They're so pathetic. Man, the Democrats, man. That's why I'm an independent now. I just can't imagine being either completely wackadoo or just limp. But I'm to a point that I think the Democratic Party is the only place I could go. So, I mean, if I were to run again, do I run as a Democrat? Probably. Right. If I don't think I can win as an independent or a third party candidate, which I'd rather do, I'd have to go to a party that I literally would be the toughest guy in there. There's nobody in the Democratic Party who's as confrontational as I am. It's just, I'm telling you. But when you look at Kristi Noem, she is the worst of them. She's worse than Duffy. She's worse than Burlison. Burlison's a hack, congressman. Duffy's a hack, Secretary of Transportation. But Noem actually controls an internal police force that can destroy people. And she's an idiot. She's a cosplayer. She's a narcissist. And she's a liar. She's an awful human being. And I think that's the problem that I have with these people. So again, thanks for another Denver After Dark. Remember, integrity, truth, data, facts, that's where we should be, but we're not. So remember, it's going to get worse before it gets worse. But I hope that all of us are there to pick up America again when we get that opportunity. But to get the opportunity, we have to fight. Thank you all, and I'll see you soon.